Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by John Donovan and Longhorn Wealth Management Group. I'm Blake Monroe, where I'm joined every day by Bobby Burt and Jerry Hamilton. As always, tell us where you're checking in from, what you're drinking, and, of course, get your questions in. We've got a lot to talk about. It's Monday. Marcus Meyer is going to be joining us here shortly, so we'll talk to him. And I guess we need to start the show, guys, with the congratulations. Number one to Texas baseball, ranked number 4. They defeat number 10 Mississippi State, win the series there, taking 2 out of 3. But also Texas women's beach volleyball as well as they advance. So a good weekend on the 40 for sure.
Yeah. Beach volleyball team, they lost out, but they advanced to semifinals, which was early in the program. For Stein Metzger. It's only a matter of time until he plays for a national championship. But congrats to the ladies for advancing to the semifinals down in Gulf Shores. And again, helps a little bit with the Director's Cup as Texas is now. Dr. Brett, his projections have Texas is winning pretty handily this year if things go as according to plan.
The baseball game, Blake, as you mentioned, was an interesting one yesterday. Texas went down 5-0 in the rubber match in the first inning, and it was like, oh boy, it's going to be one of those days. But like the weather in Austin yesterday, it's the sun shone on the Longhorns. They scored 9. Texas scored 9 in the third inning. It was the sort of game, I'm going to try to say this the right way, that displayed the kind of grit and explosiveness you need to have when you go into the postseason in the College World Series, because you're going to go down by 3 or 4 in games early that you need to come back. Texas went down by 5 and then came back and scored 9 just in the third alone. It was a big pickup. I thought overall a big game for Texas from the standpoint of it puts them now in the driver's seat to be one of the top 4 in the conference, and those top 4 teams in the conference get a bye in the conference tournament. And, now they get to host most likely regional, et cetera. So good stuff for Longhorns and Jim Schlossnagle in his second season at the helm at Dish Falk.
Yeah. And I tweeted this out from the OTF account over the weekend. Friday and Saturday, Ruger Riojas and Dylan Valanis, 11 innings pitched, only 6 hits, 19 strikeouts, and 1 run allowed. Just incredible stat line from those 2 starters.
The crazy thing in that game, Carl Padilla texted Blake and I, Mississippi State had 59 pitches. Was that in the third inning, Blake?
Yeah.
They threw 59 pitches. The first 9 batters reached base for Texas in a row.
It's big.
Yeah, 59 pitches in an inning. Wow. In a college staff in game 3 of a series, good luck. And the coach and the manager got tossed late in the game, right? Did I see that as well?
Yeah. There's a lot of good tossings this weekend, including this TCU coach. I don't know if y'all saw him.
Yes, I did.
Over a minute to go across the field, had to go get his bag. And it was an interesting weekend in baseball. No doubt about it. All right. Well, I tell you what, before we move on, Bobby, I'm going to let you go ahead and tell everyone this morning about John Donovan and Longhorn Wealth Management Group.
Absolutely. We'd like to thank our sponsor, John Donovan, President, Longhorn Wealth Management. John's a proud Texas Ex's Life member. His wife are all UT grads as well, so it was his family passion for UT that led John to brand his firm, Longhorn Wealth Management Group, and dedicated to providing investment, retirement, insurance, and estate planning needs to Longhorn families across the nation. John's been doing this for 30 years. John was excited to see UT football score the commitment of running back Noah Roberts from Arizona on Friday. We're going to talk a little bit more about him later in the show. John was also alongside a Longhorn travel group this weekend, the Flying Longhorns, and was able to watch Golden Tempo win the Kentucky Derby live in person at Churchill Downs. To celebrate both of those big wins, John wants to offer every member of the OTF family a free private consultation via Zoom, phone, or in person to allow John to show you how working with a certified financial planner can help you maximize your wealth, minimize your taxes, and ensure your legacy. To schedule your own free private consultation, just call the Longhorn Wealth Team, 972-707-4900, or schedule online, www.longhornwealth.net. John and the rest of the Longhorn Wealth team sends a big hook 'em to all the OTF family.
Okay, thank you, Bobby. And yesterday, or last night, I guess I should say, one of the newest Texas commits, Noah Roberts, was on. And I want to play y'all a quick clip on why he chose Texas. And then, Jerry, I'm going to let you give your thoughts on that interview.
Texas because Coach Sarkisian, and like the main reason was Coach Sarkisian, like the offense, like it marries up with the NFL. It's like an NFL scheme. You know, he was a NFL coordinator with the Falcons, I'm pretty sure. So like the language and verbiage is really like almost identical from college to NFL in Texas. Like Austin, Texas, I like the city, I like the vibe. I I like the culture, especially the culture, like the team. Is they get after it. They get after it in the weight room, everything. And I really like Coach Sark too.
Yeah, so that reminded me of Rod and I were talking about it last night. One thing I've noticed with the running backs that have the ability, that show the ability to come in and play early, and we're going to get Marcus's thoughts on this too when he joins us, is I'm sensing a very mature type of guy. Because, you're competing against older players more so now. Guys who are portaling in, they're 22, 23 years old. And if you're going to come in and make an impact as a freshman, I think at running back, the one thing everybody talks about, look, the huddle tapes, track times, the body types, we talk about all of it. But there's a commonality I found between Cedric Baxter, Derek Cooper, and now Noah Roberts. Those guys are very mature. They talk, the way they listen, the way they answer questions. That was so reminded me so much of the first time I talked to Cedric Baxter. Obviously, I talked to Cedric Baxter in person, but that really impressed me. I think Noah Roberts, that maturity is going to give him a chance a year from now to come in and compete. I think that's what we're going to see from him, because there's just that commonality. Bobby is really striking with some of these running backs that have signed with Texas. And I really believe when you're taking that next step, I think Jermaine Bishop's a very mature kid in that way. When you're taking that big step and you're competing against more men-age guys now than ever, you better have a real maturity in your mind about you to when that adversity hits, and then as you come into the college game against older guys now.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think it also, those guys pick up pass pro quicker. They know the passing tree quicker. It's not just maturity. It's not just maturity from the way they speak. It's how they approach the game.
Oh yeah, it's all
like and I think that's what Jerry's really getting at in so many ways. It's not. Yes, it's good for them to have a more mature outlook, but only if they apply it right in the best ways. And we're talking about, by the way, Noah Roberts, young man out of Basha High in the Chandler, Arizona area. He committed to Texas, became the 10th commitment of the recruiting campaign for Texas on Friday afternoon. Jerry and Rod were, I think you were either on air or just going off air when he committed. We had known it was coming, but we're asked to not say anything. But long story short, this is a guy that does really, really well out of the backfield, in my opinion. Like, people have asked me for a comparison, and I want to play the film and then ask Marcus for his. Why don't we bring Marcus in and play the film? They've asked me for a comparison, and the best one I have at this point is a more well-rounded Jaden Blue. I don't know, Marcus, if he has the electric go-kart acceleration that Jaden Blue had, where he would press the accelerator, and he has really good acceleration though. And he definitely has the long speed. I think he has better hands, and he's definitely a bigger back type than Jaden Blue, which I think will work really well and give him maybe a leg up on someone like Jaden Blue. What did you see from Noah Roberts? And I hope you had a good weekend, Marcus.
Yeah, good morning, fellas. Yeah, had a great weekend. The rain finally broke, so we had some perfect weather here in Austin. Got to be around a number of my teammates on Saturday when we laid Coach Tolly to rest. So that was a really good service, and then got out to Dish yesterday to catch some of the game. So had a great weekend. Hope you guys did too. And when you're watching him run, I kind of see what you mean there, Bobby. He kind of seems like a more polished runner than Jaden Blue at the time. It'll be interesting to see, like, I guess as I watch more film of him, does he get used down the field receiving the way that Jaden Blue did? I think that's where Jaden Blue was a bit different than others in the way they used him down the field. But I listened to y'all's interview last night, Jerry, that you and Rod did, and it was really insightful because the young man seemed really thoughtful in all of his answers. And then he talked a lot about his ability to be able to be moved around, to be used in the slot, to be used out of the backfield, and how that is something that he really kind of prides himself in. So I think, it's the type of back that Sark has kind of shown and shown that he likes. And, he's had some success grabbing the guy out of Arizona before. So I think that, the young man has a really bright future ahead of him, and, certainly seems to kind of have that, really competitive edge to him, and just someone that, really likes to play the game. And looks like maybe here's my downfield one that I was looking for right there. So I guess he can do that well.
A couple of things from that interview for people that haven't seen it. They're on Coffee and Football this morning. He has a commonality to Derek Cooper. He was a wide receiver before he was a running back.
Yes, he did say that.
He moved to running back in high school, similar to Derek Cooper. Derek Cooper actually started his high school career at wide receiver at Cardinal Newman, there for Coach Matt DeBuck before he transitioned to running back. Kind of both those guys kind of grew out of it is what happened. So it says a lot about the hands. Also some background on him with hands. Dad was drafted in MLB. Grandfather played in MLB. So yes, he's got a little baseball background to him as well in the family tree.
Yeah, I think he mentioned what Jerry, his dad was drafted in like the 10th round, right? Like it's certainly nothing to slouch at. And I mean, I think, when you have players like that, you try to get them in the fold. And he seems, like somebody that, is excited to be, a part of this Texas class. And I think he was running track in the spring, but, is done now. So, it's just somebody that I want to say he said he was playing the season at 195. So he's up to about 200 right now.
Yep.
And honestly, looks like somebody could put on a few more pounds and still, maintain, his explosion. So, good on him to be able to kind of string that together and welcome into the fold.
And by the way, for those that were wondering, he did confirm, as we reported, it was Texas, Michigan. He did confirm Michigan finished second for him.
Yep.
As well.
Yeah, some good film.
Waiting for Blake to take off his mute.
Hey, I had a lot going on in the background. I had to get the film stopped and removed and all that stuff. Well, I know we had some graphics that we also wanted to ask Mark about, Jerry.
Yeah. Look, I think what I want to do today is we've talked about the difficulty of Texas' schedule, okay? But this is going to be an illustration of it. CBS put out an article over the weekend that was the toughest schedules for top CFP contenders.
Okay.
And Texas was number one. They have Texas playing 8 ranked opponents coming out of spring. Now, obviously, all those teams won't be ranked when Texas plays them. But 8 ranked opponents, Marcus and Bobby, that is even if it's 6, because some guys play each other and they beat each other up. If you play 6 ranked opponents on this schedule that just shows you the difficulty of what's in front of Texas this year. So it's a good thing to be very talented. I'll say that.
Good thing to be very talented and have the benefit of not having to leave the state for a little while.
First,
I think outside of Tennessee, most of the games are in state until maybe we hit November. But I think it's a challenging schedule, and I know, this is what they've been building towards. And so you've certainly been able to, kind of amass the level of talent that's necessary to be able to go out and handle a schedule like that. But make no mistake about it, it's not one that, really rivals any other in the country at this point. And so, I think it'll be one that's challenging, but certainly one that, even out the gate, depending on how they decide to approach the Texas State game, you'll be able to learn a little bit, and then at least you have a bit of that tune up this year before Ohio State comes to town. So I think they got to go out there and find a way to put it together, but that's certainly a challenging, schedule. And the other thing that jumps out is when you look at the other hard schedules on there, the majority of them are also in the SEC, right? So, nobody's really getting much of a break, but if anyone has a tough road to hoe, it's certainly Texas this year.
Yeah. Look at this, guys. I mean, Texas has 8 compared to Indiana, Oregon, and Alabama's 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, literally twice as hard a schedule.
We were talking about Georgia last week, Bobby. I said I'd trade places with Georgia tomorrow if I'm Texas, and there's your illustration of it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's hard to ever balance everything up, but Texas and Oklahoma definitely have tougher schedules than Alabama and Georgia.
And here's another piece that we don't give enough credit to. I mean, we talk about it, but other people don't necessarily. When we start talking about going to 16 or 2014 playoffs, all 12 of those teams play in 2 leagues.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah, there's nobody else on that list.
There is not a one. And so and Sark has kind of mentioned this, CDC's gone down this road of 16 or 24 teams or whatever the number is, right? This is why when they start talking about going to 24 teams and the Big 12 or the ACC or someone barks about, oh, why there can't be 6 automatic qualifiers from those leagues. I just disagree. I mean, I think the number should be closer to 8. So I don't play on that for this exact reason. BYU was a hair away from being in the college football playoff last year. They would have finished 8th in the SEC at best.
Oh yeah.
And so I have no remorse about being very outspoken about the fact that the SEC and the Big Ten should ask for what they deserve if they go to 24 teams and play 9 conference games. They should. I mean, they'll have, between the two of them, they'll have at least 14 of the top 24 teams. They have the last several years. Why wouldn't they? And so I feel like this kind of thing, while it definitely showcases Texas's difficult schedule, it's really indicative of the 2 leagues and how they dominate college football for me. And so, I mean, OU has a tough schedule, guys.
Oh
7.
yeah.
I mean, they had a really tough schedule last year. 7. Ohio State, well, they played Texas out of conference. I'm a big believer in that. I feel like it's just another reason for me to say go get what you need if you're the Big Ten or the SEC when it comes to negotiating with those guys.
Now, on the latest conversation with that, Bobby, I don't know if I'm fully up to speed on it. Have they been talking still about getting rid of the conference championship game?
Yes. So the current, don't mean to sidebar this because we were going over the difficulty of the schedule, but the latest conversation, Greg Sankey came out last week, the SEC conference commissioner came out last week and said they got to decide by December 1. This year what they're going to do for next year. Texas, I think, would be actually in favor of 24 teams. Texas would either like 4 teams or 24 teams. Yeah. I mean, Sark talked about it. If we're not going to get this right, let's just go back to 4. Everybody that wins your conference championship, you're in. What do you do with Notre Dame in that regard? I don't know. But my point being, if you look at it from that perspective, they have until December 1 to figure it out. I think more and more there is a growing sentiment that even within the SEC, that 24 is the right number. A year ago, the SEC defiantly wanted 16, and that's why it didn't go up, because the Big Ten wanted 24. And now I think you're pushing for 24 at this point, and a removal of those championship games, and trying to get done with college football at the end of an actual semester, that January 1st through 10th timeframe.
Gotcha.
And I think that is a big thing. Whether the number ends up being 16 or 24, obviously it looks like it's headed towards 24. We can't have a month off between games. That's just ridiculous. That like the reason that one of the reasons the NCAA tournament is so good is it goes right into it, right? I mean, you're not waiting a month to see in Indiana or Georgia or somebody play again. That's not the way this is supposed to go. And I know it's a more physical sport, but the reality is you have to NFL. All right, you have to go right into this. You can't be sitting around for a month. I think what the interesting thing with 24, Marcus, will be the travel for fan bases. I mean, that's the interesting thing. You're bringing a lot more into it, but I think this is amazing for college football because everything is pointing. And I would prefer 16, but if it goes to 24, I get it because everything's pointing towards it. Whether it's the NCAA tournament in basketball, whether it's college football, everything is pointing to more right now. There's a reason they keep going the more. It's because the viewership is up. The more money is being made, and it all makes sense. And by the way, the Big Ten they just divvied up $1.37 billion to their teams, $450 million more than was expected, guys.
And I mean, I guess, as we kind of wrap that, like personally, I would prefer them to have fewer games than at 24. But if you're at 24, then kind of back to our original conversation on that graphic, I'm much more okay with a tougher schedule like that, right? Because that, were you to, have to kind of go 9-3 in a situation like that, you're still definitely getting in with a schedule like that, as opposed to, shrinking the number. Obviously, at that point, I just don't think it would continue to make sense to play that type of schedule. So it'll be really interesting to see, how it happens this year. And then I think, obviously the other thing that graphic doesn't show is, the timing of it. Again, I think we've talked about it before where, they have that one bye after Tennessee, and then that's it for the year this season. So, that's, certainly a tough schedule, as well as a consecutive number of games there that are going to be all SEC games. What is that, Blake? 8 in a row after your bye, starting with OU. So
I think the one thing about 24, guys, that I want Joel's opinions, that I like about 24 is it's going to keep Texas versus Notre Dame. It's going to keep these games. These universities are going to continue to play these games. And I think for the fabric of college football, I believe it's very important. Texas, Ohio State needs to be played. Texas, Michigan needs to be played. These games need to be played for college football. So if that's kind of part of this,
I agree.
I'm okay with it because we're not losing what we all loved growing up about college football at the same time.
Look, I want to see Texas play Notre Dame.
Yep.
I mean, I want to see Texas play Notre Dame, right? What is it set for, like 29, 30? Or I can't even remember the years anymore. But my point being, you want to see those games. That's part of fun. Going to travel to South Bend as a Texas fan is fun. I know South Bend's a boring town, but that's not
go to Chicago. You go to Chicago.
Exactly. Just drive over that more. But my point for you don't want to take away, or to Jerry's point, you don't want to take away Texas, Ohio State. You don't want to take away LSU, Clemson.
No.
You don't want to take away Alabama versus USC.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun. I mean, when we all get used to, I mean, look, we talk football here year round. So we're the fan base that likes this show and that we commune with daily. They like to see those things too. Yes, they're a Texas fan first and foremost and want to see the Longhorns do well. But, look, it is a fun time to go and have those intersectional games. And I know we play Texas State and UTSA, but you always want that one marquee preseason game that's kind of an intersectional game. And I think CDC's done a great job with it. I think it's a little bit of a pickle right now because of the lack of expansion of the college football playoff and the focus of the college football playoff. Now, with that being almost the entire focus. I guess I don't know about you guys, but if they can find a way, whether it's 16 or 24, whatever the number may be, okay, that gets a 9-3 team in that then goes 7-2 in conference, maybe loses a big one out of conference, whether it's to Notre Dame, Ohio State, or they beat or look, if Ohio State loses, those guys. And the other thing that's fundamental about this, those games typically are played in the early season. We all know those early season matchups we want to see, but that's not the same team that ends the season.
Right. No doubt.
And so was Miami really better late in the year than Notre Dame? Well, the voters didn't actually think so. They thought Notre Dame had eclipsed Miami. And then they only went back to head-to-head, a game that happened in early September.
Yeah.
And so my point is, I want to have those early season games that matter, that are interesting, but only if you can mitigate the problem of the fact that a team grows as the year goes on, or injuries happen and a team doesn't grow or they fade. And I'm of the opinion, at least, that if you can find a way to get 24 teams in, 16 teams, whatever the number is, you're better off.
Yeah, and the thing about 24 is, and I'm still a proponent of 16, but if it goes to 24, what the college football has found, which was pretty easy to go, we talked about it and kind of predicted this, was that more fan bases believe they have hope in football. And like, there's a lot of people say, oh, just go back to 4 teams. College football had a problem when there was 4 teams in the playoffs. There's 90% of the fan base that said, we don't have a chance in football. We're not even going to be given a chance in football. So with 24 teams, you have many, many, many more fan bases engaged. Why are you seeing numbers go up in viewership? Because people believe they have a chance. An NC State versus Duke game can have meaning. A Pitt game late in the season, if you have 24 teams in a playoff, can have meaning. And while Pitt's not going to win the national championship of college football, more than likely, if that fan base gets into a college football playoff, and and it's been since Johnny Majors, Pittsburgh felt like they had a chance. Think about what that's why the NCAA tournament is what it is. These fan bases, they may not think they're going to win a national championship, but they feel like they're part of the party. And that's the reality. And that's why I think we're seeing viewership go up. The reason the NCAA tournament just expanded, which I didn't necessarily 8 more teams, because they set record numbers of viewership in the round of 68. I mean, so if the fans believe, they have a reason to believe. Maybe you go on a magic carpet ride if you're James Franklin and Virginia Tech gets to a Elite 8 or Final 4 in football. Maybe it happens, but you've never had hope other than one season since Michael Vick was your quarterback. That's why it's going to work exceptionally well at the end of the day. Even if it's 24 and we don't like 24, it's going to work because the fan bases are going to be engaged.
The other thing that hey, let me ask you this. This is a good question for Marcus. How much did the layoff hurt you and your teams when you were 30 days out from playing your previous game?
I think the only
series, legitimate point.
I think the only real time it truly did was when we played Washington State. When we were in a game that, respectfully, it didn't truly feel like, it meant a ton at the time, right? Because back then it was kind of BCS or bust. And so, it's hard to stay engaged for that long of a period of time when, that's what you're out there, kind of playing for. And, probably to a degree, we underestimated them a bit just because, we had so much time off and you felt like you should have been in a better game, but we didn't handle enough business during the season to do so. But I do think it's a bit challenging. And, I also wonder like what the structure of, that type of deal is. And that's certainly something I can go, look into. And I know the closer we get to it, we'll have conversations around it. But like, depending on your matchup and or when you have to play, where those games are having to be played, obviously playing, much closer to whatever your final regular season game would be is more advantageous than, waiting, to Jerry's point, almost a full month. And I mean, even the way it's set up this year, like I think when I was looking at the calendar for it and trying to, maybe make some early plans for Vegas, like you're late into January. Like this isn't, wrapping this deal up, within the first week of January or something like that. Like if you're playing for it all this year, I think that championship game is, well, 2 weeks plus into January. And so, that's a challenge for a season that, essentially starts in August. So, I think it's certainly more advantageous to most teams to play it sooner unless, you had a bunch of guys banged up. And then in that case, that time off gives you an opportunity to get healthy.
Yeah, I was talking about it's not so much the mental piece of it, I guess. I was talking about the execution part.
Yeah, it's like not being as sharp.
Yeah, you're just, I mean, that 3rd and 3 play that you have time down as an offense, late in the season because you've been executing, running it rep at live speed for 16 consecutive weeks. And then all of a sudden you take off a month and 3rd and 3, it's a half second off. Your time is that, have you seen that affect the outcomes? I feel like I have seen that affect the outcomes of games of like if a team is hitting on all cylinders and then all of a sudden the offense takes a step back because they're not hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, I mean, and even whether it's March Madness or even the NFL, like you don't typically see a team that's ending the year get really hot, then have to take a break, and they just pick right back up and they're really hot, right?
Right.
Like,
that's what I was getting at.
The team that maintains that momentum typically doesn't have to sit out, long. And sometimes that's certainly the harder path to go, right? Like if you're having to play more games, but it's harder, sometimes to just maintain that momentum and maintain that same kind of level of attention to detail and kind of being crisp and fully dialed in right away, as opposed to having to kind of ramp back up to it. So yeah, I think there's something to that, Bob.
I thought it was interesting. I thought that the year that Texas played Georgia in the conference championship game, they actually, because they played the conference championship game, they seemed to have their legs on them on offense against Clemson. Like they didn't have this big drop off in execution, right? Now we could say they maybe did against Arizona State and even against Ohio State to that degree as the games became fewer and fewer between. But I believe that there's something to that about going straight from your regular season into a playoff, as opposed to waiting 30 days to play a game or 20, wherever the case may be.
I agree. I do agree.
And we got one thing we have to get back past is the talk. Well, the guys are in finals and all this. Man, most of these guys are doing online class. Let's get past the BS at this point, okay? And let's get real to what we're really talking about. Like one thing I don't want to for the people, the powers that be, to say, well, the guy, they have class, they have finals. I'm like, no. We walk around these campuses. No. We're not playing that game anymore. So this is semi-professional sports. Let's get on with it.
Man, you didn't have to take those classes.
Neither today.
I don't, online or not. I mean, I did a 300 level English course at UT was freaking not fun. I mean, Friggin' 10-page paper is a 10-page paper.
Seth says I sound like Cardell Jones. I do that. I do nowadays, man. I mean, like when I talk to how many college coaches do I talk to in this profession? And 8 out of 9 are like, oh yeah, these guys don't go to class.
Oh, well.
Online. I mean, it's like if that's where we're at, then that's where we're at. So let's not BS about it and let's get on with it.
I don't know that they went to Texas. What do we got for ads, Blake Monroe?
All right. So, well, first, I need Jerry to tell everyone about Hayes City Store.
Absolutely. There are very few restaurants that once you go to, you immediately know they're just special. Hayes City Store is one of those places. It's scratch-made Texas comfort food. They've got their famous truck stop enchiladas, award-winning chicken fried steak, homemade desserts. All of it's absolutely delicious. All of it's from scratch. There's also live music six nights a week with 50 beer taps, ice-cold long nuts, and tasty margaritas. There are 13 TVs alone in their ice house, perfect for game days. And they even have brunch served 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every Sunday. Hayes City Store is dog-friendly, and they also have a tree net for kids. Don't mix the two. Join the folks at Hayes City Store and bring your whole crew. For more information, check out the website at hayescitystoretx.com. Hayes City Store, it's uniquely Texas. Might be a great place to go watch the San Antonio Spurs this week, have nice dinner, a little live music. Seems like a plan to me.
I'm going tomorrow for Cinco de Mayo.
There you go.
$6 frozen margs, street tacos all day.
Yeah.
Should be fun.
And that's both locations, both at Hayes City Store and Taste on Main. $6 frozen margaritas, might add, all day long. And I need to tell everyone this morning about our friends over at Prize Picks. Today's show brought to you by them. And I'm telling you, it's May. The weather's perfect. Everything's rolling. And if you're just casually watching games right now with nothing on them, you're doing it wrong. You're leaving way too much fun on the table because this is where it changes everything. Now every possession matters, every at-bat matters, every shot, every pitch. You're locked in from start to finish. You're not just watching anymore. You've got a little juice in it, and there's a chance to cash in as well. The best part is it's easy. No deep dives, no complicated nonsense. You're just picking more or less on player stats. Points, rebounds, hits, strikeouts, whatever you're already watching, you build your lineup, you submit it, and you're good. It takes maybe a minute to do. And what I love most this time of year is you got options everywhere. Basketball, baseball, golf. You can stick to one or mix and match across everything. Whatever's on, it fits. And today we're going to bounce around a little bit. I'll put the picks up on the screen here. We got NBA and MLB action. Tyrese Maxey to have more than 19.5 points. Maxey's been good to us on Coffee and Football over the last month or so. He's averaging nearly 28 points per game over the last couple of weeks, so we got him. We're also taking Trey Turner for producer Matt and his Phillies. Trey Turner to have more than half a base as the Phillies standout. Has 11 total bases over his last 5 games, so he's hot there. And we're going to stay in Philly, taking pitcher Aaron Nola to have more than 3.5 strikeouts. He's averaged 5.6 per game last month. So that's it. That's the play. You trust your gut. You lock it in. And now every single moment actually means something. Don't forget Prize Picks is available in all 50 states, including right here in the Lone Star State. So if you haven't jumped in, now's the time. Download the app. Use code HMA. Play $5, and they're going to give you $50 in lineups instantly. Again, code HMA. 5 gets you 50. Simple as that. And as always, play smart, play responsibly, play Prize Picks. All right. Well, I got one other graphic here that I wanted to bring up for Marcus. And this another thing that CBS put out, guys, returning snap percentages. Now, they did all the teams. We're only going to look at the top 25 here. And, Jerry, I'm going to let you actually kind of break this down and explain it a little bit.
Well, so this is without portal transfer. So this is actually returning. Okay. Yeah, Marcus, which I thought this was good to look at. This is returning snap percentages of guys returning on the roster prior to, obviously, the portal additions. I think Bill Connolly's put out something with the portal additions, but it really speaks to continuity, I think, on some of these teams. Now, some people say, well, there's some of these guys that, is it good that they're back or not? Y'all can have fun with that. But what it's showing is who has maybe some of the most roster continuity coming back of total snaps played last year. Obviously, Notre Dame is at the top, and there's a reason. Notre Dame's got some really, really good players coming back. A bunch of NFL draft picks coming back. Maryland probably won't factor in anything. BYU, decent, right? Virginia Tech's going to be a sleeper in the ACC. Georgia, obviously, Andrew Luck's going to have a lot of – Stanford's going to be high on this every year. But you get down to USC at 10, Ohio State at 11, and you get down to Texas at 15, Oregon at 16. A&M was just outside that top 25 for those wondering. Texas Tech 21. But again, I think this is one of the reasons that I'm really high on Texas, guys, is they have enough continuity back, but then they added big time guys to the mix. And not all the teams that are on this added as many big time guys to the mix that have similar roster continuity and snap percentages returning.
Yeah, I think as I look at it, Jerry, and I'm trying to kind of digest it a little bit, even to your point about Texas specifically, when you think of, some of those guys that make up these percentages of returning snaps, there's some big time guys that are part of Texas, right?
Yes.
An Arch, a Trevor Gooseby, Colin Simmons, Jelani McDonald, those types, even, Hero Kanu, right? So it's not just, kind of role players, if you will. It's guys that are deeply steeped in the program and have a lot of experience and a lot of talent to go with it. So then when you kind of take a look at the other side of that coin, when you factor in the transfers as well, similarly, they brought in high level transfers that, for the majority of them at the right spots are going to contribute, quite a bit this year. So it certainly is interesting. There's not a ton of, teams ahead of us that we play. I only see Georgia and Ohio State or I guess OU, slightly more. And so, it just kind of, once again, kind of looks towards, that same conversation of the challenges of the schedule, but also how, Texas should be well positioned to handle it.
The one thing that stands out to me of this is it doesn't feel like, other than Notre Dame, that anybody is really that is expected to be a national competitor is really out there. I think Notre Dame is that. Georgia's in there, but it's not as high as Notre Dame. The one thing that stands out to me beyond that is the offensive rank of Ohio State. They rank second overall in returning starters and returning snaps.
Oh, yeah.
That's impressive because they weren't exactly a weak offense last year, right? And they returned not only their quarterback, but also two of their starting receivers, the starting running back, the offensive line. The offense at Ohio State could be a juggernaut this year. Now, their defense is a different story.
Yeah.
The other aspect of it is that Texas catches them early, where returning snap percentage matters more. I'm not worried about returning snap percentage in the 10th game of the season. In the second game of the season, this stat actually means more. And so that was the one that caught my eye when I was going through this morning.
And that's with a wide receiver going top 5 in the draft.
Yeah, that's the guy they lost. That was the one they lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, and they have a lot of offense. What's interesting?
By the way, Ohio State had a pair of tight ends drafted early.
Yeah.
Reasonably early.
The interesting thing from Ohio State fan side is like Mello and a couple others come in our chats all the time, and they're not very high on their offensive line, but a lot of those guys are back. So they kind of can say, well, that's the position that has to go prove itself, even though they have, I think, 4 or 5 back. One got hurt, so I think they technically have 4 back off that team last year. So to Bobby's point, totally agree with that. That I think Notre Dame defensively, when you're looking at teams nationally, they're number 2 in defensive snaps. They were young last year. And then Georgia was interesting to me because we talked about their schedule and Texas doesn't catch them this year. Hopefully Texas does play them because that means it's a very meaningful game. But 65%, we talked about who Texas had a great spring because they didn't lose anybody to season-ending injuries. You look at Georgia, they lost their top transfer to a season-ending injury. He was going to factor into, then add on to this very experienced defense coming back. I think they lost 2 transfers to injury on defense this spring, but they lost the one kid who's really good, Williams. So that was a big loss for them out of the portal in terms of injury in the spring. So again, Texas had a really good spring, guys, because they didn't have any major injuries. A&M's lost a starting linebacker, which apparently is more of a clean break injury, but he's still going to miss a portion of next season. He may be back for the second half of the season. So Texas had a great spring because they didn't lose anybody for the year. And you can go up and down this list, and a lot of people did.
Absolutely. Blake, you're getting a lot of love in there for this that coffee and football logo. Is that you or is that Matt? That
was me on that one.
Okay. All right. That's pretty dope, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words there, Marcus. And Marcus, thank you for joining us as you do each and every Monday here on Coffee and Football. I appreciate you for coming on, man.
Likewise.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thanks, Marcus.
Have a good weekend. I hope Marcus said he was out at the baseball game yesterday. Chamber of Commerce weather.
Yeah.
In Capital City yesterday. No question about it. There were some comments among our internal chat that the weather yesterday, if that could be the weather on official visit weekends, Texas might end up with a 1 or 2 higher ranked recruiting class.
That's yes. The view from the Four Seasons, the ride on the boat on the lake. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that play into it.
Well, up next, guys, let's talk a little recruiting this morning. Jerry, what you got for us?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of go over the defensive guys that are going to be making official visits this morning. Kind of a little update on those. I think Blake has the graphic there. So the Texas staff will be back out on the road. Good place for starting defensive line. Tyler Alexander, Palm Beach Central. Somebody down close to that program said Kenny Baker is expected by this week. Most of the Texas staff was in Houston and Dallas last week. They'd been out of state a little bit the week before. Like Chris Gilbert and Kenny Baker had already been to Mississippi to see Mitchell Turner, to see Ben Javarius Shoemaker, the Ole Miss commitment, and then obviously the edge commit Derwin Field. So Texas has already been out in Mississippi, but last week they were in Houston, Dallas for most of the week, then branched out a little bit from there to some various spots. This week, I think you're going to see coaches in the state of Florida a little bit. Tyler Alexander. I think there'll be Kyle Flood will be down at IMG, seeing Reed Ramsier this week, a couple other spots. But on the defense, I wanted to kind of go over some of these guys just so that everybody knows where we believe this is at right now. Mitchell Turner, stud, disruptor, defensive lineman out of Louisville, Mississippi. They've had a lot of players out of Louisville, Mississippi over the years. That was a Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss battle right now. And a lot of people think they're close to that recruitment. I think it could come down to Alabama and Texas. I'm not going to rule out Ole Miss. I've been in the game too long. We've seen Ole Miss, the way they can get things done. So those 3 schools in Mississippi State, all 4 will get official visits. That's Mitchell Turner, the defensive lineman out of Louisville, Mississippi, who's very similar to Damari Simeon to me in the last cycle, maybe slightly more explosive, very similar frame, was 6'2", 287 on his visit to Texas in April, had enough arm length to go with all that disruptive ability. Marcus Fakato is Ohio State OV coming at the end of May, Texas first weekend in June, Michigan, Oregon, number of schools in it for him. Cassie Curry's recruitment's all over the place. It's going to be, you're just going to have to deal with that if you're following that recruitment or if you're trying to recruit him. Texas has the OV set June 5th. Texas was by to see DeMarco Jenkins at Pearland, Jason Johnson at Atascocita, Raiden Cook at Barbers Hill last week. As I mentioned, all those guys are going to OV. Raiden Cook, the Houston commit, will OV June 5th. DeMarco Jenkins and Jason Johnson back into June 19th through 21st. I mentioned Ben Javarius Shoemaker. He's Ole Miss commit. He's a stud. I mean, he is really, really good out of Choctaw County. They're in Ackerman, Mississippi. So Texas trying to recruit the 2 top interior defensive linemen from Mississippi. They already have at edge. You see Derwin Fields committed, one of the defensive linemen in the state of Mississippi. So Jabarius Garrett, Viger, spring game is Friday night. I think that one could easily come down to Texas and Texas A&M, but I don't want to discount Auburn in state, and FSU is the 4th there for the former Alabama commit. But man, Texas and Texas A&M could be battling it out for a guy at Viger High. Welcome to the SEC, right? And KJ Green out of Stevenson, Stone Mountain, Georgia, one of the top pass rushers in the country. Obviously, Cam Hall committed. We made a couple of position changes, Bobby, here is we moved Israel Hammonds, Jaden Nelson, the Texas Tech commit, to linebacker, that overhang linebacker position from edge. I think that is more where they're actually being recruited. Israel Hammonds out of Choctaw, Oklahoma, which that's an Oklahoma State Texas battle, and Oklahoma State's going to be a problem there in that recruitment apparently. But all these guys will be making official visits. Then your inside linebackers are Gouda and Makai Allen from Don Bosco Prep, who will be in June as well. Joakim Gouda is a Georgia slight lead battling Texas. He was on campus twice in April. Talking about Joakim Gouda out of McEachern High near Atlanta. Florida and Auburn also get OVs. That's a nice knockdown, drag-out SEC recruiting battle. But that's a first recruiting battle that's Kirby versus Muschamp, where a linebacker could really come down to Georgia and Texas, and two buddies get to go at it head-to-head in the Atlanta area. And then at defensive back, we talked about it. There's going to be a lot of defensive backs. There's 10 right now that are scheduled to OV. It wouldn't shock me if another one wasn't added to that. Defensive back is really important in this class for Texas. Muschamp's first class, Blake Gideon back. Orfe now married with Muschamp, who they had a history together. The defensive back position, I think that's very, very important to Texas in this class. I think there's a need for 2 or 3 corners, obviously, and then a couple of safeties. I think they'd love to take it to 5. Carnell James is the commitment. John Meredith is a Texas lean, the 5-star. We'll see if he actually makes that Alabama OV at the end of May. I think that's iffy. He goes to Texas June 5th through 7th. He will not be at A&M the 12th through 14th. That's the OTE Nationals, 7-on-7, and he will play in that. So we'll see if A&M pushes up on an OV if they get an OV. But I think Texas is tracking pretty well with that John Meredith recruitment right now. And there's a couple of sleeper names at DB that I don't think are mentioned enough, but I want to keep mentioning. Isaiah Udom, the safety at Dallas South Oak Cliff, I think is a tremendous player. Kind of came off the radar onto the radar of everybody this season. Had a tremendous junior year there at South Oak Cliff. As a hard-hitting safety, also has range in coverage. SMU is fighting really, really hard to try to keep him absolutely closest to home. He really likes the idea of Texas. I think right now it's a Texas-SMU battle. And then Dylan McGee has always been a sleeper because John Meredith gets a lot of the attention, as he should. Montre Jackson gets a lot of attention in the corner class in Texas. But Dylan McGee's a guy that colleges really like. He was at Texas in April. Obviously, he'll be back in June for his OV. But a name to keep kind of in the front of your mind at DB recruiting, I think, for Texas fans. But that's a look at the defensive kind of guys who have official visits set right now, kind of where things are at as a whole. Again, I think the Texas staff will be on the road. I know Kenny Baker will be down to see Tyler Alexander this week. I think we'll see a lot of Texas staff members on the road in the Southeast this week. And I know they have to get out to California one day as well to see all those defensive linemen and any other prospects they're recruiting.
Appreciate you going over the defense there, Jerry. I would just talk about this on recruiting on the whole. We mentioned this earlier in the program, but if you missed it over the weekend on Friday afternoon, Texas picked up a commitment, Noah Roberts, running back out of Basha High School in Chandler, Arizona. It's the Phoenix area, about 30 minutes out of Phoenix. Long story short, it's 3rd time in 6 years Texas has reached into the state of Arizona for a running back. Obviously, Bijan Robinson primary to that. But Texas now at 10 commitments. We think they're going to go to 24, 25 is what I'm hearing. Even with the move to 105 from 85 scholarships, they want to keep spots available for the portal because that's just going to be the way the world works from now on. But I think that there's some recruiting to do here in the next 3 weeks leading into the official visit period, because Jerry has mentioned this once before that, I don't want to say this, a lot of guys are going to get tired of taking official visits.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is pushing guys to take visits earlier in some respects. And in some, it's to have them take it later to make sure you get the last visit. So there's some jockeying right now going on inside the discussion as it relates to recruiting overall.
And there's definitely been a shift in strategy by Texas in this cycle. They've shifted everything more forward in the month to the first couple of weekends. Now, all the first 3 weekends, obviously, Eastern Royals that June 19th, because there's certain ones you want to have be last on. And Eastern Royals, one of those, right? But I think for a lot of the visits, Texas has shifted. They used to go back last 3 weekends of June. In the last 2 weekends, the back 2 weekends were the big ones for Texas. I think they've shifted that forward now because kids are making more decisions. I think agents are pushing to get things done quicker. And again, like Bobby said, one thing Hank, myself, CJ, we used to hear at the airport those last weekend, couple of weekends in June, is parents are just tired. Like we have lives, we have jobs, and every Thursday we're heading out of town for 4 or 5 weeks straight. He said, and then some of the families like, look, we got other kids, they have sports, things going on, and they're having a hard time balancing everything. So I think there's a little shift here to move everything forward, and it should, because you can now take official visits more. You're seeing more guys take advantage of being able to take official visits in April, and you're seeing more schools push for like SMU just had a big visit weekend, the first weekend in May. You're seeing more schools push for those late April, early May big recruiting weekends out of the gate to see if they can push that process along, see where they stand on some guys. So the more the calendar moves up, the more tired the parents are going to get, the more the agents are going to want to get this wrapped up.
Okay, well, we got some questions. We got your super chats that we need to get to, all that good stuff. But first of all, you tell everyone about Mint Mobile this morning.
I will tell you about Mint Mobile. I'm excited about the next segment because I always enjoy talking with fans as it relates to Texas football and taking questions. All right, every group has someone who insists on doing things the hard way. That friend who's still paying for a subscription they forgot they had. That one refusing to update their phone because it still works. I used to be that person too, especially when it came to overpaying for wireless. Then I switched to Mint Mobile. Stop paying way too much for wireless just because that's the way it's always been. Mint exists purely to fix that. Same coverage, same speed, just without the inflated price tag. And for a limited time, get 50% off 3, 6, or 12-month plans of unlimited premium wireless. If you're ready to stop paying more than you have to, new customers can make the switch today. And for a limited time, get unlimited premium wireless for just $15 per month. Switch now at mintmobile.com/ontexas. That's mintmobile.com/ontexas. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required, $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Over 50 gigabyte may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. Additional terms apply. See mintmobile.com for details. That's mintmobile.com/ontexas.
Jerry, I'm going to let you tell everyone about Vaughn Lane this morning.
I can do that for sure. While they're nickel and diming, that's what we'll call this one. So the airlines are at it again. You probably heard one of the big ones just moved to assigned sitting, but here's the catch. If you buy their cheapest fare, you don't actually get a seat assignment until you check in, want to pick your seat. That'll be an extra $80 or more. Oh, and they're charging for check bags now too. It just keeps adding up and up and up. Meanwhile, Vaughn Lane is out here doing the opposite. No bag fees, no surprise charges, no TSA lines. You show up at your beautiful hotel terminal, walk on in minutes, and settle into just one of 22 oversized leather seats with complimentary Wi-Fi, snacks, drinks, and hot towel service. On select departures, you'll even get a complimentary meal. And the Wi-Fi, what is it? It's Starlink, so it actually works. Try saying that about airlines Wi-Fi at 30,000 feet. It's hit or miss. Vaughn Lane just added more departure times between Houston and San Antonio and between Fort Worth and Austin, so it's easier than ever to fit your trip into a schedule. Vaughn Lane serves Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Plano, the Woodlands, Nashville, Memphis, Atlanta, and Knoxville. Visit VaughnLane.com and use promo code OTF26 to get $20 off your first jet. What is Vaughn Lane? It's a private. Our first trip. What is Vaughn Lane? It's a private jet on wheels is what it is.
All right. Thank you, Jerry Hamilton. And I put this up a second ago, but I want to go ahead and read it real quick. Angry Bevo says, shout out to my wife, her first day of retirement. So she's watching coffee and football with me.
Congrats on one part.
Hey, wait.
Congrats on your retirement.
Yeah.
May the 4th be with you, Angry Bevo.
There we go. All right, let's jump over to some super chats. Drew, I put yours up when they were talking about Noah Roberts, but I want to go ahead and thank you for the super chat. He says, not been stoked on a running back commit since Bijan and CJ. Sark hit a home run with Noah. Really impressed so far. What a fit for the program.
I mentioned this at the very outset of the show, and I wrote something on TexasFootball.com this morning. I feel like now Derek Cooper has home run speed too, so I don't want to take that away from him. But I feel like this is a little bit of a thunder and lightning situation. Derek Cooper is an inside runner naturally. I think Noah Roberts is more of that home run guy that you get out in space and try to make a move, make somebody miss and go. You watch his film and you see a lot of that on film, especially in the passing game. And so as I think of it, Jerry, I agree with Drew. I feel like it's a good mix. Yet, the one thing about these two now, they also have SEC size over time. And so I think that's the combo that I like a lot about what we're seeing with Cooper and Roberts together.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing people have asked about is kind of his stats from a rushing perspective. I would say this on Noah. He played on a really good team. They won state last year. They had 3 tight games out of 13. But they also had other Division I skill guys. So they spread the wealth around on that team. But Noah still had 50 receptions to Bobby's point. I really like him out of the backfield. I like him in space, especially for a guy that's 200 pounds right now. It's going to be 210 to 215 when all's said and done. He has those quick feet. He has that change of direction ability. But that's the one thing about him from a stats perspective, because I know that's been a topic or some people have asked about, is they had a number of other Division I skill players on that team. So they really had to spread the wealth around. But yeah, I think his big playability is going to show up at the next level. I really do. I agree with Bobby.
And Juan Garza here. Thank you, Juan. Appreciate you as always. He says, I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina, visiting my little sister. Mm-hmm. She's graduating from Fayetteville State. Really cool town, Jerry.
Yeah, look, I've enjoyed when I was doing this nationally, going through all the Fayetteville, North Carolinas, out to the east coast of North Carolina, Havelock and New Bern and all those areas, man. There's been NFL players come from every place you stop in North Carolina out there. Big athletes. Fayetteville's had the Hoopers too. They've quite a few NBA guys.
And Bobby, I got a super chat for you from Texas on my mind. He says, Bobby Burton, I heard a story this weekend that you sold a fish tank to the great Don King back in the day. Was my buddy telling the truth?
Yes and no. It wasn't my fish tank. My former business partner, a guy named Ken, this is back in the 90s, Ken Greenberg owned the fish tank, and he had left and was out of state. And Don King, the former general manager of a what do you call it? Establishment, a gentleman's establishment, came in to buy the fish tank and move it. But yes, it was not my fish tank. I was helping it sell it for my then business partner.
Well, there you go.
Yes, it was quite odd. It was quite odd. I think my wife and I were actually, she helped me sell it, just for the record, which is really odd.
Jeff Carey, thank you, Jeff, as always. He says 56% of last year's preseason top 25 ended up ranked in the final poll.
So 13 of 25. That, you know, that's about normal. I mean, look at the baseball rankings right now. Blake just put a tweet out about the baseball rankings. LSU started the season. This is the baseball rankings. Okay. LSU started the season number 1 in the country. Now they're what, 14th 14th out of 16 teams in the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, so it happens across all sports, Jeff, would be my conversation topic there. And it's certainly happened to Texas before in sports. But I think that as it relates to football, I'm not so concerned about I don't see this enormous, even though they play 8 ranked opponents, like we talked about earlier in this broadcast. I don't see the drop at Texas being that steep. I just don't. Too many adults in the room at Texas that are what Marcus kind of was trying to talk about, disruptors, leaders, that sort of thing.
And there's a part 2 to this. My apologies. I didn't see it originally. Also from Jeff, 16 teams of last year's preseason USA Today top 25 did not make the college football playoff.
That's normal. 9 of 12. I don't think that's a big deal either, because you got James Madison. Like, one of those teams is not gonna. A couple of those teams are not gonna make it because they're not going to be ranked inside the top 25, usually or typically. Interesting, but
yeah.
As it relates to Texas and this stuff, we can predict, but that's all it is predicting at this point. I'd love to tell you, I know this is going to happen. And football's a funny sport, man. Sports as a whole can be funny. One big play here, one big play there, one injury, one play call that just surprises you.
Yeah.
Look, I've been around a long time. There's one play call in my lifetime that I've just looked at and said, where the hell did that come from? And it was John Malkovich. I mean, Texas had no business winning that game, really.
Yeah.
But there they were.
All right. I tell you what, Bobby, before we get to this recruiting super chat, I'm going to let you tell everyone one more time about John Donovan and Longhorn Wealth Management.
I can do that. John's a proud Texas Exes Life member who served on the Dallas board of the Exes for 15 years and has now spent the last 4 years helping lead and support the growth of the new Collin County Texas Exes chapter. John consistently serves his fellow Longhorns as a certified financial planner and the founder of Longhorn Wealth Management Group, a firm he created and dedicated to serving UT alums and employees, as well as their family and friends. John was thrilled to recently see the Texas Exes organization identify Longhorn Wealth Management Group as a member of the Longhorn 100 in 2026. It represents the fastest growing companies in the world that are owned, led, or managed by UT alums. To celebrate, Longhorn Wealth recently revealed number 32 ranking in the Longhorn 100. John's offering all OTF fans a free private consultation to show how working with a certified financial planner can help you maximize your wealth, minimize your taxes, and ensure your legacy. Please make the time to expand and enhance your financial success by scheduling your own free private consultation. Call John and the Longhorn Wealth team, 972-707-4900, or schedule online, www.longhornwealth.net.
Well, as I said, we do have a recruiting super chat. This one regarding Texas commit Easton Royal. And he says, this is from Julian. Thank you, Julian. When we get to recruiting, what would you guys say in terms of comfortability percentage that Royal keeps his commitment to Texas over LSU based on recency?
Look, I think it's going to be a battle all the way. I think Texas feels good about where they're at. He's the one thing about Easton I've said is he's everything he said he was going to do in this process, he has. So I think that makes a staff feel more comfortable when he's been up front with the media. He's laid all this stuff out that he was going to do, and it hasn't changed. I think Texas. Somebody else asked a question: Texas, LSU, or Florida? Florida's still going to hang around in that as well. He's always liked the idea of playing college football in Texas or Florida. That's what LSU's got to overcome, and I think Texas checks every box for Easton Royal, but on the Texas side, still doesn't mean you're going to sign him. And one thing I would say is I feel good about where Texas is at right now. Obviously, the in-state pressure is starting with the tight end, Ahmad Hudson, committing out of Ruston. He was always going to LSU. That's the difference, though. That guy was always going to LSU unless he went to Miami because of AAU basketball connections, but he was always going to LSU. So that's expected. But now that all the pressure starting on Easton, and he's going to have to deal with that for a few months, and it won't stop. Even after he concludes his OVs, Texas has the last OV June 19th through 21st. If he says after that, if he reiterates, hey, I'm going to Texas, that's where I am. Thanks, everybody, for continuing to recruit me. LSU is going to make it a battle till December. That's just the way it's going to be. And honestly, that's the way it should be. I mean, I know people hate it when I say that, but if you're gonna go get Easton Royal in 10.15 100 meters at 200 pounds out of New Orleans, it better be the recruiting battle of your life. I mean, because that means everybody really truly covets him. And that's what's happening with Easton Royal.
So Jerry, 50-50, 60-40, 70-30.
I don't know if I can handicap it right now.
It's fair.
I mean, like I
honestly, I don't talk to Eastern Royal, but I would say that someone that is as highly recruited as he is, as talented as he is, 50-50. Yeah. And it's not necessarily LSU, it's the field.
Yeah.
That's the difference between regardless of what the question was based on recency. Mine is versus the field, because he's not just a good player, he's a great player.
Yeah.
And great players, it changes the perspective of people and what people are willing to do.
Yeah. And the thing there is, one of the reasons let's see early June where this thing continues to be at. The Texas side is probably 75% confident, but I guarantee you the LSU side isn't 25% confident. And I guarantee Florida probably thinks they have at least a 25% chance or more right now. So it comes, these recruitments are interesting because you can talk to 3 different staffs or people that cover 3 different staffs. And the staff that doesn't have them right now, a couple of those are probably more confident than you would want them to be, but it doesn't mean they're going to get him. And Texas is really confident they're going to keep him because, and I get it from a Texas perspective, and I think he likes Texas for all the right reasons that would make him stay with Texas despite all the pressure that's going to come from being in New Orleans his senior season. And by the way, for anybody asking, I think there was some rumors that maybe he was going to leave or something. He is expected to be at Brother Martin next year. Some people had said that because Brother Martin, it's tougher from a high school early graduation standpoint. But he is
okay.
But there's ways around that. He is going to play out his senior year at Brother Martin, barring a major change late. That's where he wants to be. It's where his mom wants him to be. So it's a great high school he goes to. He has great support there in all sports. So there are some rumors about that, but that is unfounded at this point. So it'll be a battle. I think Texas is confident. And I think they have reason to be confident right now. And let's see how much LSU, the people, can turn the pressure up in New Orleans and in the state.
I got 2 things I want to read before we get out of here. This first one from Boomachi says, I just want to thank you guys for all that you do, watch every day, and enjoy the conversations and information. So appreciate that. And then Muschamp's Corn Dog Handler, always in the chat every single day, says, my mom is beating cancer for a second time. Take that, cancer. Whoop, whoop.
Ring the bell, baby. Ring the bell. I'm all for it. As far as providing the information, we've got some good things working behind the scenes on Texas football for the coming months. So I hope you guys stay tuned. I'll just put it that way. Very excited about some things that have happened in the last 24, 48 hours for on Texas football going forward.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football, presented by John Donovan and Longhorn Wealth Management Group. Want to thank John, along with Mint Mobile, Prize Picks, Vaughn Lane, and Hayes City Store. Don't forget Cinco de Mayo tomorrow at Hayes City Store. All for sponsoring today's show. Bobby, what do you have for everyone later today?
Well, Jeff, CJ, and the guys are going to sit down and talk a little interesting comment. Texas transfer portal wins of all time. What are the best transfer portal wins of all time? And then later today, Jerry, Rod, and I are going to take on a topic that I thought was Our producer Matt came up. Who's the next college football coach to win a national championship? I know who I'm going with, based on my own comments on this channel in the last couple of years. But Rod and Jerry have to pick somebody as well as this one. And then we have the live stream later tonight. Coach Shipley going to join Rod and the guys as well.
All right. Well, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, ring the bell so you're notified anytime we go live, post video, whatever it may be. And that way you don't miss a thing. And then head on over to ontexasfootball.com to join the community and get your questions answered there. And speaking of questions, Super Chat. Loin girding season, make sure you got your Harrys ready, or it could be hairier than you were ready for, especially for softball and baseball fans.
It is loin girding season. By the way, if you're out in Miami, I know F1's done, but you better be careful because new starting quarterback Malik Willis, if he has a baseball in his hand, it's very dangerous out there. So if you live in Miami and you see the starting quarterback with a baseball glove on, run the other direction.
Did you see that throw? I mean,
awful.
Literally, I mean, a quarterback is supposed to be able to throw a baseball, right?
I mean, but Patrick Mahomes had an overthrow too, and he was a pitcher off, White House.
That wasn't an overthrow, though.
Yeah, but Malik Willis was like take out the mascot in the owner box type.
He threw it. No, he threw it halfway down third base.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really rough.
If you get a chance, I mean, I was like, I don't understand how he could make that throw.
I didn't either. I mean, he just got a $67 million contract, and that's the first thing he did.
Well, more chance
That's
for Quinn Ewers
made afterwards.
More chance for Quinn Ewers to be the guy.
So Marco Mendez says he said Randy Johnson 2.0. The problem is Malik Willis wouldn't have hit the bird. The bird, all the birds could fly under that ball. Wow.
It clearly. I mean, I'm not wrong. It had to.
That was crazy.
Had to have wet hands, sweaty hands, or something.
That was
awful.
Crazy.
Awful.
Blake, what would you do? Blake, you'd pipe it, right?
Yeah, that's
75 down the middle.
Yeah, oh, without doubt. Without doubt. Probably hurt the catcher's hand, honestly. Well, we hope you all have an amazing day today. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow morning. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.